Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. Today is the 27th of January 2023, and this is a video that I feel is coming through particularly via the energy of Lilith, and it's in response to a couple of comments that have come in after my video yesterday on YouTube, particularly concerning Andrew Tate. And I'd like to expand the teaching on this a little bit. It's quite interesting that I've put my hair in this style that I did last time I channeled Lilith. I didn't even realise I was doing it. So definitely feel the energy of Lilith here. And those of you that watched the channeling I did with her energy will remember the story about how Lilith is the one that refuses to submit to Adam. She, in turn, removes herself from the Garden of Eden because she sees herself as Adam's equal. And we expanded on that in the channeling. I'm going to read a comment that came in. This isn't attacking anybody for anything. It's actually a very good comment. And it was one that I was sitting with before responding to it. And I wanted to respond to it as a mother. And this lady who wrote is also a mother. The only difference between us is that it looks like this lady is a mother of boys, teenage boys, and I am the mother of teenage girls. So there is maybe that difference that is actually quite important when we look at Andrew. And of course, Andrew Tate, whatever you think about him, is playing his part in this great game of life. And from a violet pill perspective, is playing the part that he's meant to, whatever you think of him. And like all of us, is a mixture of both darkness and light. So this is the comment, and I won't say her name, but she says, as the mother of a loving, kind and wise 16-year-old son, I can only think that he has been a mostly good influence on my teenager. He's motivated my son to work hard at school, not drink or take drugs, and to respect his body. I think young men are looking for a male role model that allows them to be male. The male energy has been squashed. It may have gone too far, but we need polarity to rebalance. He's in service, I think. Just my thoughts. There's nothing in that I would disagree with, but I still wanted to sit with it before responding. And this is my response. I have a phrase that's going around in my head, which is, at what cost? At what cost? Do maybe some of these beneficial things come in? At what cost? Because as a mother of teenage daughters, I think if you asked many teenage girls what their response to somebody like Andrew Tate would be, it would be very different. And I know this from first-hand experience. I knew nothing of Andrew Tate and who he was, what he stood for, until quite recently. And my interest got piqued because he's got millions and millions of followers. I thought, well, there must be something about this guy. What am I missing? So one evening I sat down and I watched one of his videos. It was actually the Piers Morgan interview that he had with Andrew Tate. So it was quite a big interview, quite long. And as I was watching it, my youngest daughter saw me and she said, and I always remember the look of horror on her face, she said, what on earth are you looking at that for? Why are you looking at him? And it was really this energy of like, what the hell are you doing? And she said, he's toxic, Mum. He's just toxic. And then I asked my other daughter and she just rolled her eyes and was like, oh God, yeah. And from a teenage girl perspective, it's very different. Because even though somebody like Andrew might be doing something beneficial for some aspects of masculinity out there who are feeling powerless, voiceless, needing to bolster their masculinity in some way, even if it's in an old-fashioned way, because I think it is an old-fashioned way. It's a very patriarchal energy that he has. It's a very materialistic energy that he has. We can't judge that because we've all come from it, but it is what it is. But even though there's been maybe a positive side to it, for some, not all, the aspect that is so deeply triggering, and why we ask the question, at what cost, is his attitude to women. Some people say he's a matrix breaker, and I said in my video yesterday, and I think I said it too subtly, only a few people I think really got it, so I'm going to say it a bit more bluntly here. I believe that we're living in a time where many people on the world stage will sometimes drop in keywords, code words that they know are going to place them in a particular camp. Whether you call that the good guys, the bad guys, the white hats, the black hats, whatever your language is, okay? He's used that word. He must be one of us. But actually, if you look behind the energy, because a word is just a word, at the energy and the actions and the trunk of the tree, you don't really see a matrix breaker in the way you might expect it to be. The only way I would call him a matrix breaker is in that he's bringing into our face toxic masculinity, old-fashioned masculinity, particularly in relation to women. Women are, in his world, a chattel. It's a very old-fashioned word. It's from a different age. That you are my possession, that you will do as I say, that you will obey, that I am the king of your world, but it comes at a cost. The sexualized way that he seems to only be able to view women is deeply troubling. Because of this lady's comment last night, I went back and I thought, well, maybe there's something I'm missing. So I watched another video of his. And again, the same energy hit me in my face, or in my gut, actually. You know, I just knew straight away who this guy is. And he was talking about older women in a very derogatory way. Made me feel, as an older woman myself, a bit like a discarded piece of meat. That was the energy. Like a discarded piece of meat that somebody else has chewed and spat out, so why would you want that? Not that I would go anywhere near this guy. Not seeking that. But it's just the energy, disrespect for the older women who are actually your mother's generation. His mother is on record this year of saying, I didn't bring him up to be like this, to behave like this. And I suspect she particularly is talking in relation to his relationship and his attitude to women. That women are highly sexualized and objectified. The card that I pulled relating to Brian Koberger's murders, he's innocent till proven guilty, but we were looking at the energy behind it. And there was a card which was, I talked about the objectification of women. Women as objects, women as possessions, women as sexual creatures. And it's almost like, don't look any deeper at what they might actually have beyond a very stereotypical view. So is he a matrix breaker? In a way he is, because he makes us look at that and think, do we really want that anymore? But he's not leading us into New Earth territory. Let's go back to Lilith. Do you think the energy of Lilith that lives within women is taking Andrew's hand and saying, oh yes, please, please, let me be with you? No, she'd kick him into touch. And it's only sometimes when we go back to the masters that we are able to remember how far we've fallen in some of the role models that we look up to. Now, as a parent, we have no power really over who our children follow. I'm on record and I stand by the fact that I can't stand the fact that my eldest daughter certainly used to look up to Kim Kardashian. I don't know if she still does. To me, there is a vacuous, shallow, materialistic, all about the face and the image and, you know, perfection and it's not me. It's not who I am. It's not my values. But I have to respect that my daughter, for whatever reason, has enjoyed watching that whole show. In the same way, other mothers might have to respect the fact that they like Andrew's show. It is a show, though. It's a manipulative show. Go back to the masters, how far we've fallen. Go to Lilith. Feel into what she would make of the words and the actions of somebody like Andrew in relation to the divine feminine. She would eat him for breakfast. The other master energy that I feel very strongly around this whole subject is Joseph, the father of Jesus, who has a template of what it is to be a strong, grounded, humble, open-hearted, loving man. Very, very underrated, very, very underlooked. Who modelled, like Jesus, what gentleness looks like in a masculine body. This morning I went to open my blinds downstairs and I've left one Christmas decoration out. It's an ornament that I bought this year of Joseph, Mary and Jesus, and I didn't want to put it away. And as I went to open the blinds, can't make this stuff up, Joseph's head fell off. And I knew as soon as it happened what he was trying to say. You might remember that the other statue I've got of Joseph in my house is something I found in a skip. It had been thrown out. Somebody was moving, they didn't want it anymore. I saw the treasure that was there in it and I've got it in my room. But he's battered in that. It's battered, it's not looked after as a statue, but I've left it as it is. This one is now broken. It's what we do to... It's what our society doesn't seem to prize, this model of masculinity. But this model of masculinity is what is wanting to arrive. Would the energy of Joseph or Jesus... no, let's put it another way. Just feel into the energy of Joseph and Jesus, and then feel into the energy of somebody like Andrew, with his swagger, his money, his materialism, his view of women, his influence over a generation of young boys and men. And to the mothers of this world that would say he's been a great influence on my son, I would say this: please be aware, and put it this way, what I'm being shown is the relationships that those sons then have with women, future girlfriends, future wives, which the mothers will never know about. They won't know how their sons treat women behind closed doors. You won't. This is where seeds of toxicity come in and can be very, very poisoning and very difficult. I would also say, where are the positive it's interesting I said royal models, and because I'm talking about sovereignty. I'm not talking about the royal family, I'm talking about sovereignty. A sovereign king, a sovereign queen. Mary and Joseph, very good examples of that. Jesus and Mary Magdalene, very good examples of that. Adam and Lilith, very good examples of that. So, at what cost is the question that I will leave you with today. And remember also how master manipulators can drop in keywords and codes that make you put them in a camp, and then you excuse all the rest of the behaviour. They're a matrix breaker. They must be good. We're all a mixture of light and dark. Be aware of both. Much love. See you soon. Bye for now.